Radio.
We're joined by Simi Nwogugu, who is CEO of Junior Achievement Africa and has today been named the winner of this year's Africa Education Medal, Africa's most prestigious education accolade, which was founded last year by T4 Education and HP in collaboration with Microsoft. Congratulations, Simi.
Thank you very much, Winston. Thank you for having me.
How does it feel? I mean,
it feels wonderful. I mean, I didn't expect it. When you think of Africa education, I usually, because we're entrepreneurship education, I never really put myself in that category. So this award is a wonderful validation of the work we do, innovating the way that education is practiced across Africa. So I'm really grateful to T4, HP, and Microsoft for this honor.
And already a lot of people are, congratulating you. I've seen Mayank Dingra, who's Senior Education Business Leader, Southern Europe, Middle East, and Africa at HP, saying congratulations to Simi on the fantastic achievement of winning the Africa Education Medal 2023.
Yes.
Her work at Junior Achievement Africa is truly empowering the continent's next generation to face the future with confidence. She's an inspiration to all of us at HP, where we have a bold goal to accelerate. Let me just get the continuity. We have a bold goal to accelerate digital equity for 150 million people globally by 2030. Only by joining forces and aligning with NGOs, government, educators, businesses, can we truly improve the education environment. The African Education Medal brings together all those who are changing the face of education in Africa, whose vital work deserves to be celebrated.
Yes, and I'm really grateful to HP because they're one of the organizations, on the forefront of organizations that are leading change in education in Africa. We can't move forward without technology. And so for companies like HP to be investing their technology in classrooms across Africa are really leapfrogging what our children in schools can achieve. And even our teachers, because today you need to be on the forefront. I'm sure you've heard about ChatGPT and
yes,
all these innovations in AI. You really cannot move forward without being in that boat in Africa. And so I'm grateful to companies like HP who are, upping the ante in our classrooms, basically, to make sure that we're not left behind.
Great. And talking about not left behind, we're going to have a conversation about, empowering the continent's next generation to face the future with confidence. How do we ensure that the African youth is competitive globally? And this morning I was telling Daryl about something that I learned, which actually makes me want to have this conversation. That some 15 years ago I was at Wales in Europe conference, Simi. And the first Minister of Wales at the time, Rodri Morgan, said in 50 years' time, Europe was going to be the world's old people's home. China was going to be the world's factory.
Yes.
India will be the world's office.
Okay.
Australia will be the world's quarry. America will be the world's armory.
Okay.
And Africa, sadly, will be the world's graveyard.
No.
Great. I like the no, because we just can't be the world's graveyard. But the critical question is, how competitive is the African today? What skills will the African need to compete in an ever-changing global environment? Do we have those skills readily available? Today, other parts of the world are complaining that they do not have a youthful population. Human resource, very key. And we've had discussions about whether AI would take the place of human. The Chinese debate and say, we manufacture these equipment, so we would always be better than them. But of course, can we compete globally? That's a conversation we must have today. Simi Nwogugu, who is CEO of Junior Achievement Africa. Congratulations once again on your award, and welcome to Ghana.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here. Ghana is my second home in Africa. My office is actually here, so I'm here quite a bit.
Your office is here?
Yes, the JA Africa office is based in Ghana.
But we don't see you here often.
But I'm here now. You're seeing me live and direct.
You shuttle between Ghana and Nigeria?
I shuttle between Ghana and Nigeria. My husband and my daughter are in Nigeria. So
bring them to Ghana.
Okay. I will let them know.
This is the gateway to Africa, you know. And so we are prepared to...
after you've told me that Afrobeat was founded in Ghana, now you're wanting my husband.
No, I actually said that. Fela, that you see as the inventor of Afrobeats, came to Ghana, listened to High Life, went back to Nigeria, added horns and trumpets to it, and he named it Afrobeat.
Okay.
So the base of Afrobeat is High Life.
Okay, we'll leave it there.
Yes, we are your big brothers. We had independence before you.
Thank you.
Anyway, let me say a special welcome to our friends in Kumasi who are listening to us on Love 99.5 FM. Thank you very much for tuning in and staying with us here on the Super Morning Show. So let's look at it from this point. I mean, when Mayak Dinkra was congratulating you, he makes a point that, your work at Junior Achievement Africa is truly empowering the continent's next generation to face the future with confidence.
Yes.
I want us to start from, this point. What would it take us? I mean, going forward in today's ever-changing world, what do you need to face that future?
So I think we have a lot going for us in Africa. As you mentioned before, majority of the world's youth by 2050 would be from Africa. And so we are creating the world's HR. And it's incumbent on us to develop skills for future jobs. You mentioned about technology and AI before. This is where we're going. With Junior Achievement, we empower young people from the age of 5 with the skills for future jobs. We teach digital literacy, we teach financial literacy, we teach entrepreneurship, which is work readiness. And we go all the way to age 29. So between 5 and 29, your formative years of education, we empower you to really be powerful contender in all the skills you need. So I was just at the World Economic Forum 2 months ago. We were talking about skilling young people for future jobs. And if you look at the top 10 skills that they identified, they are not actually skills that are tangible. A lot of them are soft skills, analytical reasoning, critical reasoning, design thinking, skills that you get from usually our students who go into engineering would have the design thinking, but even more than that is that empathy that goes along with it. So if we're afraid of AI taking over the world, who is the person creating the AI? What is the empathic education they've had as young people? What is the social responsibility they have developed as a young person? So they're actually creating technology that helps the world and does not hurt the world. And so at JA, we really focus on empowering young people to get those skills, those digital skills, those problem-solving skills, those analytical reasoning skills to be competitive in the world, as you said. So our students can work from their living rooms in Kinshasa, in Accra, in Lagos, for any remote job in the world. If you think about it, in Africa, we are graduating over 11 well, not graduating per se, we're moving 11 million people into the workforce every year, whether they are dropping out of school, whether they're leaving secondary school or leaving university. There's about 11 million young people going into the workforce every year. We have 3 million new jobs every year. So that means 8 million people are unemployed, newly unemployed every year. So over time, that stacks up. And so you have problems with crime, you have problems with people trying to migrate and, getting lost in the oceans. What can we do about that?
We'll get to what we can do, but I mean, you talked about soft skills, you talked about analytical reasoning, critical reasoning, and all of these things. Now, these are things you would find in the developed world. These are things you would find right from the get-go. When you start education and you're being trained to critically analyze things. And so it's not all about what you can recall, but how you apply what you have been taught. Would you say that in our part of the world, in Africa, this is something that readily is available to us, and this is something that shapes our thinking?
Yes, it is. JA. That's what we do. We go into classrooms. We partner with governments, ministries of education, ministries of youth, to go into classrooms to teach, again, these skills are, you can learn them from as young as age 5. So we really go into primary schools, secondary schools, universities, technical schools, TVET institutions, to really make sure that our young people are developing those skills for future jobs. Because 10 years from now, the jobs that are available will not even be jobs that are here now. So how do you train people for jobs that don't even exist yet? So we can say, oh, my daughter is going to be a lawyer, my doctor is going to be a doctor, but the way the world is going, new careers come into focus every year because of the rapid pace of technology. So our young people have to be comfortable and able to move along with this rapid pace, learn quickly, think quickly, analyze a problem, think up a solution, think of how they're going to create a business to solve that solution, think of how they're going to market that business and get people to actually believe in their vision and make money, create wealth for their businesses, and really help people within their communities make money. I'll give you an example from Nigeria. When we run a program called Company Program, which teaches secondary school students how to solve businesses, how to start businesses. And we had a group of students who go to this government girls secondary school on the outskirts of Abuja, and they live in a rural area and they go to school in town. And these are children of farmers. Okay. And they saw that their parents' produce are wasting away because they don't have the ability to transport the produce to markets in town. They go to town, the food in the markets are not fresh and are expensive. And so through Junior Achievement, they learned how to create an app and how to develop a website. And they were able to start selling their parents' produce fresh and delivered through Okadas, this bike riders. Yeah. And they were able to offer cheap, fresh produce instantly at your door when you need it. And at the end of the day, they signed 400 farmers onto their platform. Okay. They made 14 million naira, gave 11 million naira to the farmers, kept 3 million. These are public school students who probably didn't have 5 naira to their names before they started. They now have 3 million naira. They were able to give, I think, distribute about 1.3 million to the Okada riders. And so with amongst them, this business, young entrepreneurs were able to make 1.4 million naira in profit. So, and this is at the age of 15. Okay. So that you can never take away from them, because now they know there's a problem. I think of a solution. I use technology to think, make the solution easy, and I can go as far as I want.
Okay. I'm going to get back to, this whole problem using technology to solve it. I'm also going to broaden it up. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I know what Junior Achievement is doing. Yeah. But we're going to move a bit away from Junior Achievement and look at the bigger picture. Okay. So if we take what you're doing away, are we doing enough? And this morning we're joined by Simi Nwogugu, who is the CEO of Junior Achievement Africa. We're having a conversation about youth empowerment within Africa. So, Simi, let's look at one thing. You've talked about what Junior Achievement is doing. I know other organizations that are doing so also. Yeah. But if you go to other jurisdictions, the educational system itself sets you up to do these things. Can the same be said of us?
I believe so. And I think it's really empowering the education sector to understand its role in development. So it's no longer a situation where teachers are the experts on stage anymore. Now they themselves are students. They have to keep learning because, again, the rapid pace of technology, if you're, stuck in your ways and you still think what you know is enough to teach your students, and then your student comes into the classroom, but I Googled it and it said, no, this is no longer true and all that. So you yourself as a teacher, you have to be ahead and continue learning. So it's a real continuous learning. And so what I would say is for our governments, ministries of education, to invest in technology, invest in training teachers, invest in training the people that have access to our students to understand what are the ways that we can continue to keep them competitive. Invest, the ministries of youth invest in incubators, where if there is a young person with an idea, they know that they can go to an incubator and incubate that idea and scale it. So it's not fighting fintechs because the big banks are scared, but it's the big banks and really embracing the fintechs, that how can they bank the unbanked. It's not fighting edtech that they're going to make the schools irrelevant. No, it's the schools embracing the education technology entrepreneurs to say, how can you make us more effective as schools? So I'll keep going back to this role of investing in technology as a way to make what we are doing better. We cannot just continue doing same old, same old. If you look at the countries where are ahead, they are the ones that are continually investing, continually learning, and are not afraid of investing.
So you're talking about investing in technology, training, incubator, and all of that. You also make the point, you've talked about how in today's world the children are learning fast.
Yes.
And so if you're a teacher, it means you should also be learning fast.
You should be learning fast.
You don't have to wait for government to come and train you.
Exactly. Exactly. And there's so many resources now. Everything, every major university in the world now has an edtech platform. You can take courses for free. So, and it's not just teachers, it's every individual. Don't wait for somebody to come and train you. There are people who will say, my boss has not promoted me. Well, what have you done lately to show your boss that you've advanced from where you were a year ago? So there's so many resources now that you have to take that opportunity to say, what am I good at? What am I interested in? What does the world need? And how can I develop myself to meet the need of the world by educating and learning what I'm good at can even be better. And so it's really on us, each and every one of us as individuals, to improve ourselves and elevate our countries and not just wait for government.
Talking about elevating our countries and not just waiting for government. So as individuals, in our part of the world, consistently reference is made to government, but you've talked about how we should be elevating ourselves as individuals. Yes. How do we go about elevating ourselves as individuals? What must we do differently?
There are a few things. One is self-awareness. Okay. And I always teach that in every leadership class that I teach, that the first thing starts with you.
Okay.
Where do you shine? And if you know where you shine, you can position yourself in that place. So if you know that my area is really strategy, which is what I discovered in university, because I went into university thinking I was going to be a doctor, a lawyer, and I quickly realized that I didn't like either. And I knew that I had a gift for strategy. And so I ended up really building that gift of knowing, okay, this is the future we want to go, this is where we are now, and mapping the steps to get there. Find what you're good at. Discover where you can get more training in that area. Like I mentioned before, all the major schools have edtech platforms. Educate yourself and then put yourself in situations. So a lot of our people, they want jobs that are paying right away. Why not go and volunteer?
1 minute. Just hold on 1 minute. We'll come to the volunteering. So let's look at the self-awareness. You've talked about growing up, going to school and believing you're going to be a doctor, lawyer. But when you got in there, you realized that you preferred strategy.
Yes.
How did you come by that realization? Because that person listening to us could ask himself, and I've heard people say, you must know what your purpose is. What makes you happy? What is the thing that you'll be willing to do every time? But the question is, how do you come by that realization?
It's internships, which goes back to what I was going to say about volunteering. I did a lot of internships in college because I was really in university. I was really trying to find myself. And so I would go to my school's career office and they would say, well, we have these internships, but it's not open to second-year students. It's open to third-year students. And I'm going to apply anyway, even though I'm second year. And I'll go and do it for free. I'll tell them not to pay me. And doing that, I learned so much about myself. I worked for the governor of New York. I worked for Essence magazine. I worked for any company that would have me, and I really understood different aspects and really honed in on this is what I like to do. I like strategy, and it was really at McKinsey, and it's a consulting firm, and I was hired as an intern, and they sent me off to Harvard Business School for a week. They sent all their interns off to Harvard Business School for a week. And that was where the light bulb went off, like, this is what I should be doing with my life. Because growing up in Nigeria, you thought businessmen were people who carried briefcases to Abuja to go and ask for contracts from the government. So I really learned what business was in business school, like, the ability to create value from nothing and really be responsible for the community where you operate. And I said, this is what I want to do with my life. And I started going down that path. I got a job with Goldman Sachs upon graduation. Real capital, capitalism injection there, because I had gone to a school that was a save the world type of school. So I wanted to expose myself to the other side. And that education really helped me build my, when I started volunteering for JA as part of JA New York, I realized that, wow, if I had had these programs when I was in primary school or secondary school, I would have known sooner that this is what I want to do with my life. So that's why I brought it to Nigeria.
Great. So this morning we're joined by Simi Nwogugu, who is CEO of Junior Achievement Africa. We're having a conversation about youth empowerment. We're talking about being self-aware now. We're talking about self-awareness. You've talked about internships, and that's very great. But I'm going to do this.
Yes.
So you are interning for free.
Yes.
In today's world, when you ask the young African to do internship for free, it tells you, but how do I get to go every day and come back? At least I must get something. And so many people look out for paid internships, very difficult to come by,
Yes.
and thus would prefer to stay home until they get that job. What do you tell that man who has that kind of thinking?
You have to invest in yourself. And one of the ways you can do that is really look for opportunities where you can, maybe take on a different job that is a menial job that can give you the money for transport into the job that you are looking to get eventually. So you don't have to start from day one. So if you know that I want to work for Joy FM and Winston will not pay me, let me go and wash cars, or as a young man, 14-year-old, 15-year-old, wash cars, make some money and get transport to Joy FM every day. So I'm learning from Winston, and by the time they see how good I am, maybe they'll say, oh, this boy has been coming for the past 6 months. He's developed some skills. Perhaps we should give him something. And then I start making something. I don't need to be washing cars anymore. But a lot of people just want to blow. Young people, they want to blow from. They don't want to. So, but you have to find a way to get to that area. So that's why I started with what you're good at and what you're interested in.
Okay.
Our young people these days are interested in so many things. They're not interested in finding out what they are good at, because you have to bring something to the table. You can't just come to Winston and say, give me an internship. What do you bring to the table? I can bring the youth voice. I can bring, what's trending, so that your topics are always hot and trending for young people. So what do you bring to the table? What are you good at? So that employer, when they're bringing you for an internship, you're also valuable to them.
So in effect, you're saying that you should always find out your unique position.
Yes.
Look out for what distinguishes you from the others.
Yes.
And that is where being self-aware starts from.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's say we now know. We've created a self-awareness. Where do we go from there?
Where do you go from there is now, what is your goal? So after I teach self-awareness, the next thing I teach is goal setting. And I say start with dreams. Okay, what are your dreams? And then goals are really specific, measurable aspects of your dream. So if you say, my dream is to someday run a beautiful radio station in Ghana. Okay, so how do I get there? I have no experience whatsoever. I'm going to go and look for Mr. Winston and intern with him. But you have to start with the dream. And then that dream propels you to look for ways that you can build yourself and develop yourself to achieving that dream.
And talking about dreams, well, there was a poll we did some time ago, and when I said that about 70% or so of the young ones in Ghana wanted to travel outside the country, somebody said to me that the remaining 30 didn't understand the question. So they should go back and ask them the question again, because their goal is to travel outside the country. I mean, there are goals like that also. So that person, and today, I mean, I'm bringing this up because if I am to open the phone lines to you, I mean, right now, and we ask the youth to tell us, what opportunities they see, they will tell us there are no opportunities here. And so they want to leave the country and go outside. That is their dream. So for them, it's leaving the country, going outside there, get some work to do, and if they decide, come back to the country. They're not wrong, are they?
Well, they're not wrong. It's a global, marketplace now. But there are opportunities here. They are wrong about there are no opportunities, because I meet people every day who want to come to Africa for business opportunities. I will, they say, oh, you are from Nigeria. Oh, I want to do business in Nigeria. I want to do. So there are opportunities here. We just need to open our eyes to see them.
The opportunities you talk about being in Africa, Simi, is it that these opportunities are shut to us and opened to the world because our people say we don't see them?
So even if you take Ghana, for example, do you know how many Nigerians are here making money?
I know them. A lot of them.
So there are opportunities here that they've come to find. So we tend to discount our countries because it's familiar to us, and we're not looking for the new. So there are opportunities everywhere. You just have to look at the problems. Before you look for the opportunities, look at the problems. What does everybody complain about? That in itself is an opportunity. How can you solve it? If you solve that thing that everybody complains about, you are going to make a lot of money. So you have to start with that mindset of a people-centered approach is what they call it. What are the things that are painful to people? So some people don't have light. So how can I, create a solar business? How can I, whatever it is that you have to be interested in it. Okay. You have to have a way to become good at it, but you have to have an inherent desire to solve that problem or meet that need. That's where the opportunity lies.
When I speak to the young ones, when I tell them there are opportunities, and when I start talking like this, they say this is social studies. They tell me, oh, you're going on and on and on and on. This is social studies. I mean, they tell me, get down, come down to the world, and show me how I'm supposed to go about it.
I was listening to, I think it was Ghana radio actually. Somebody was saying about two people who visited a village, and one noticed that all the school children went to school barefoot and said, oh, such poor children, and went away. And the other one noticed that the school children went to school barefoot and said, oh, there's an opportunity here. And they started looking for ways they can bring cheap shoes to that community and sell it to them for very, very low cost, so that they can wear shoes, and then they made a huge big business out of that. So again, it depends on perspective. Open your eyes and see the opportunity.
Look, we're going to do something. This morning we're joined by Simi Nwogugu, who is CEO of Junior Achievement Africa. I'm going to ask you, because you've talked about government also having a role to play.
Yes.
I'm going to run by you some of the schemes that government puts in place.
Yes.
And you tell us, for instance, what specifically government should be doing.
Yeah.
Should government be setting up schemes that, train people? Now, is government better off supporting the private sector to train, or government uses taxpayers' money to train? How can government itself measure the impact of these training sessions that it has? And also, we've seen temporary jobs, so jobs that have become temporary. In Ghana, we had the Nation Builders Corps, NAPCO we call them. Over a 2-3 year period, they were giving jobs, and they were supposed to transit into main employment. That did not happen.
Okay.
Not all of them got jobs. Majority of them didn't get jobs. So after 3 years, they had to go back into the market looking for jobs. We'll look at how we can deal with all of these situations. This morning, we're joined by Simi Nwogugu, who is CEO of Junior Achievement Africa. She's been telling us, some of the skills that we need going into the future. And she's also been telling us what we must do as individuals, but let's look at what governments must do, because you've talked about collaboration between the private sector, between government. You've talked about what the individuals should do themselves, but let's look at the government, for instance. And I mean, over here in Ghana, we've seen the government, at a point in time, introducing jobs for people. We've seen the Youth Employment Agency. We started off as the National Youth Employment Program. It became the Ghana Youth Entrepreneurial Development Agency, Ghana Youth Employment and Entrepreneurial Development Agency. And now it's become the National Youth Employment Agency. We've had another agency which we've had is the Youth Enterprise Support System. Now it's become the National Innovation and Entrepreneurship Program. We've had the Leadership and Skills Development Program, LESDEP. We've had the Youth and Skills Development Program, YESDEP. We've had lots of programs, but the question really is, what should be government's role in ensuring that the youth are well equipped to deal with the future?
Well, first of all, I must commend the government for doing all of that. I mean, it's a great show of wanting to find solutions to youth unemployment. Applause to your government, and I wish every government in Africa would be as proactive as finding a solution for youth unemployment. But I think that government also needs to recognize that there's some inefficiencies that it has, so it's best to leave things to people who are best in delivering them and to just support in scaling. So what do I mean by that? Partnering with organizations that are well trained to provide the training, partnering with the private sector who know the skills they want and are able to actually support the training to achieve those skills. And, so having those organizations and the private sector work together. And then when things are seen to be successful, government can come in to scale. I think that's where the role of government should be. So if somebody, if we say, okay, we want to ensure that all out-of-school youth are in school, for example, and somebody develops a technology that can help out-of-school youth get low-scale technology using WhatsApp or something, and say, oh, this is technology that is actually very good. Let's help these entrepreneurs scale it up, and then government can then be part, and private sector and institutions can be part of that. So I think the role of government is, one, to provide security, health, basic education and all of that, but also to, when they see outliers or they see opportunities where they can invest in scaling, they support the scaling. When government wants to do it all by itself, that's where the inefficiencies exist, because they're not able to provide that. They're not able to train people. They can't hire everybody. Sure. We can't create a national employment and we just hire all youth. No, we should be training them to be the job creators, the young people to be the job, to start businesses, and then to help them scale. So I believe in national incubators, but not necessarily that the government is the one running it. They should also have people who are trained to run incubators. They should have private equity investors who can actually tell you these are the skills we're looking for to take an entrepreneur from SME to large businesses. They should have industries come in and say, you know what, for tile making, this is the skill we need for tile making, so we're going to create an academy for tile making. So when you partner the education sector with the private sector, then you get skills for jobs, right? And the government just comes in there to provide the infrastructure necessary for those universities and the private sector to be able to invest in getting young people who may not be able to afford the fees for that type of education. So you are seen as an enabler. Okay. Basically, that's what government's role should be in summary, is an enabler for people who are trained an expert in delivering these services to deliver them, and you just enable the young people who may not be able to afford to go to get the scholarships to go.
Let me get your thoughts on this, because there's always been a conversation about government having no business in doing business, and the business of government in business is being an enabler.
Yes.
That's what you believe in.
Yes.
But government also makes the point sometimes that, well, yes, if we create all the enabling environment and it's taking a long time to absorb these people, we can come in temporarily to absorb these people, hoping that within the next year, 2 or 3, the private sector can expand and absorb these persons. Would that be wrong?
It's not wrong. I think it's how you do it. It's not the goal. It's how you do it. So it's not in letting government hire the people. It's creating the enabling environment for the small businesses to become bigger. Okay. So they can hire more people. So that's what I meant about getting people from SMEs to large. We can have like 1 million SMEs that just hire 1 or 2 people each. Why not invest in helping them gain the skills they need to become larger, more established businesses that can then look for employees to train? So, but if government wants to do it by itself, then everybody remains small, like everybody remains mom and pop or sole proprietorship. Let's invest in creating that enabling business environment that lets small become medium, medium becomes large, large becomes, multinational.
So that investment that you talk about, what form should it take? The investment by government, should it be having a good macroeconomic environment? Should it be tax incentives? What should it take?
It should take whatever form that enables the businesses to operate. So providing electricity, for example. Let's have 100% electricity so people don't have to buy generators to operate their businesses, because the cost of business is already very high.
Sure.
Let's have security. That's why I said this is the role of government. Let's have police or situations where that if somebody comes into Kumasi to start a business, they don't have to worry. Or if they come into Accra to start a business, they don't have to worry, because there is an infrastructure for security. There is services that are available to people that they know that I don't have to go and steal from somebody else to get what I need. So it's really government's role is to provide a social safety net to catch those people who, the free enterprise capitalist system might not be able to support. So there'll be people who maybe they haven't had the right education, they haven't had the access to, and they are falling out of that, free enterprise or capitalist system. Though that's the responsibility of government, to catch those people and provide free education, provide opportunities for them to get those skills so that they can compete with the rest of their, higher income peers. And so I believe the role of government is really to just ensure that those basic things exist and businesses can operate without feeling like they have to invest in building their own infrastructure. First of all, I have to find light, water, this, that, and the other. Everything exists in the country, and then all I have to think about is strategizing for my business. Look at telcos. When we all got GSMs and got full, how many businesses just came out of that alone?
Yeah.
So those are the kinds of things, privatizing those kinds of services so that more people get access to them and they're able to use it to develop businesses, but also creating a social safety net so that it doesn't become prohibitively expensive for others.
Great. What about the youth and their attitude?
Yes.
Do we have the right attitude?
Well, I think, for this new generation, I actually really think that they are, they have a great attitude in terms of, this is what I want, right? In a way that our parents or even maybe our generation didn't have. We just took what the government gave us. The young people these days, they're advocating for climate change, they're advocating for entrepreneurship, they're advocating for things they want. So the key is not just to be advocating, but to also be developing yourself to recognize those opportunities and to go after it. You can't just be like an entitled young person, this is what I want, give it to me. No, know what you want, but also know the role that you have to play. And that's that hard-working mentality we spoke about earlier. There will always be people who will find opportunities where you don't, and they will come into your country and get the businesses, get the jobs, do the things that you should be doing because you're waiting for somebody else to come give it to you. So that attitude of the work ethic of going after what I want by developing myself to be able to take advantage of the opportunity when it comes is very key.
Great. So let's talk about Junior Achievement Africa now that you're in Ghana.
Finally.
Morning, yes. This morning we're joined by Simi Nwogugu, who is CEO of Junior Achievement Africa. And yes, you're in Ghana. We said that you should come and settle in Ghana permanently. But
no problem.
In Ghana, now what would you be doing?
So we have JA Ghana, which is the local junior achievement operation, and then we have JA Africa, which oversees all the 16 countries that we're in. And what we're trying to do is reach 1 million people annually across Africa, empower them with skills where they can work for any employer in the world from the comfort of their living room, and add value. And so we focus a lot on digital literacy, financial literacy from a very young age. We have a show that we actually just, I believe we've aired all 18 episodes on some TV networks, and we're looking for more TV networks to take us. It's called Chaching Money Show with Adana and Emeka, and it teaches financial literacy to children ages 7 to 12. They go on different adventures with our Chaching band. It's an animated cartoon with 6 members of a band. One of them spends a lot, one of them saves a lot, one of them likes to donate to charity, one of them, so you get to see the impact of the different decisions they make, and you learn about financial literacy with sing-alongs and different things, that different adventures that these band members go through. And it's also on our YouTube channel, Junior Achievement Africa YouTube channel. But we do these things to really start putting the thoughts in the young people that, self-efficacy, you are what you believe you can be.
Sure.
And so from a very young age, we start giving them the skill sets and the mindsets they need to transform their communities, basically.
And are they responding to this?
Of course. Of course. We have alumni who are doing really wonderful things. I just saw a video of Iyin congratulating me on the award. Iyin Aboyeji is one of our alums we're very proud of. He's founded 2 unicorns, Andela and Flutterwave, and is on his 3rd. And he, spoke about Junior Achievement giving him his first taste of entrepreneurship in secondary school. So our flagship program, the company program, goes into secondary school and teaches entrepreneurship in a practical way. They spend, their penultimate year, the year before their final year of secondary school, learning how to build business and running the business. They elect officers amongst themselves, and they figure out, okay, what is a problem within our community we can solve. They create a business, they solve it, they run the business for about 6 months, at the end of which they write an annual report and send it to us, outlining their financials, their challenges and everything. So then we have a competition in every country, and we choose a winner, and then the winner in each country comes to the Africa competition. And the winner in Africa then represents us at the JA Worldwide Global Competition. And this year, for the first time ever, an African team won at the global level. So yes, where Africa is coming, Africa is rising. A team from Zimbabwe won the global prize, $15,000. These are secondary school students, $15,000 for their business. So very proud of them.
I see. I mean, so you're talking about, finally, before I wrap it all up, you're talking about training these children when they're very young.
Yes.
I'm sure if I had to ask many of the persons around me here, they tell you when they were older, then they started getting to know about financial literacy. What's the advantage? Why is it important to start training them when they're very young?
Because they cultivate that mindset and that skill set from a young age that I am responsible for myself, my family, my community. I'm not waiting for government to give me a handout. So it's very, very, and even some of our government leaders, if they had had financial literacy when they were younger, they would not be making some of the blunders they make, and then we fall into this mess that we're in all these countries, African countries.
Repeat that one again.
He wants to put me in trouble this morning. But I'm just advocating for financial literacy from a young age. So we know the responsibility and how to manage money, how to manage wealth, both at the family level, at the community level, and yes, at the national level. When you have the responsibility of finance, you do it properly, because from a very young age, you've learned what it takes to run things well.
Simi, anything you want to say finally before we wrap it up? I mean, it's great having you join us this morning. We've had a great time speaking to you and picking your thoughts on lots of things concerning youth empowerment. Anything you want to say finally?
Well, first of all, I want to thank T4, HP, and Microsoft for giving me this honor of the Africa Education Medal. I want to thank, I keep seeing all these messages from dear friends, Chimamanda and Banky and Kate. I want to thank all of them. I want to thank you for giving me this platform. I've really enjoyed this. I think is, well, no, it's not my first one, but first in a while, radio appearance, and I've had really tremendous fun this morning. I want to really applaud the Ghanaian government for all that it's doing. I think, your government speaks to you, as we were saying earlier. You might not believe what they're saying, but at least they speak to you. We've had governments that have ignored us where I come from in a long time. We wish our government spoke to us as much as yours does. And I really want to encourage all the young people out there who think that there are no opportunities in Ghana. There are several opportunities. Again, think about what you're good at. Think about a problem that you complain about, that people around you complain about, and therein lies an opportunity for you to solve it and makes lots of money doing so. And we're here to help you at JA. We have entrepreneurship programs, JA Deep, that you can sign up in your living room and just learn entrepreneurship from your computer. We have a career matching platform coming online where you can look for jobs anywhere in the world, remote jobs, and based on your qualification and your skills, you can find jobs anywhere in the world on our Career Connect. But there are opportunities everywhere. There are courses online, Coursera and Harvard, even all these organizations and universities give free digital courses online. So take responsibility for your future. Don't wait for somebody to come and train you. Train yourself. Go after those internships and volunteer opportunities and begin building your own future.
Thank you very, very much, Simi Nwogugu, who is CEO of Junior Achievement Africa. And once again, congratulations on winning the Africa Education Medal. Thank you very much for making time to join us here.
Thank you for having me
on the Super Morning Show.